the secret history living in your dark nocturnal aquarium. How's everybody doing this evening? You doing good? I'm doing good. Let's all be good. Good. I think that's a good place to start. Sorry about the humidity in here. Let's see if we can fix that. Always does this when we start. It's a little bit better. So, who's up tonight? I decided since I'm moving my stream, and YouTube really hates it when you change anything about your, even if it's not a declared schedule, it's kind of your loose schedule. They don't like that. And so I decided I'd hop on here and see who's on tonight. I'm still going to stream tomorrow at 4 o'clock, but it's going to be the new time rather than Tuesdays. Boy, it looks like I have a mullet right now. In this room, it is so humid. My hair poofs out, and my eyes get baggy. Weirdest thing about this room. Totally the room's fault, I swear. Okay, so in any case, tonight, yeah, I want to answer your questions, and I figured let's take a look at my aquariums and see what goes on at night after dark. I mean, the lights are on. I turned them back on, but they would be off normally at this point. And you get different behavior, you get different colorations, different patterns, and I figured we could feed a couple things and just hang out and chat and just, say hi. Just so that there's something going down tonight. And also, any questions you guys have, I really would like to focus on tonight. If anybody's struggling with anything or curious about something, I feel like I want to answer those better than just a comment being answered, with another comment in text form. So, yeah. What's going on, S? Welcome. It appears that you were here first on this surprise stream. Patty's Petite Tanks, hello. Fish Tropic, what is going on? Who else is in here? Chalupa No Tomatoes, what's going on, my friend? Danny1409, what is up? Steven, what's going on? PJ and Cole, what's going on, Pat? Sandy, hello. Here, Fishy, Frugal Aquatics, Danikin, Kenny, what is going on? I want to give Kenny or Danny, I'll give Kenny and Danny a big shout out and say congrats on coming up on that 2K. On this channel, we are so close I can taste it. It'll be before this weekend, I bet. But we're going to hit the 20K mark, and before 5 years of doing YouTube, so that makes me feel good. That was my goal in my head. I was like, about 3 years in, I was like, I wonder if I could hit 20K before 5 years in, just assuming that I wouldn't get popular for any, viral reasons or whatnot, other than, the current giant viral problem that has made the hobby more popular. What's going on, Gigi Don, Gigi Allen, Zhe Yang, hello? Is it J or J, like J sound, or is it Ch, Che Yang? Any case, welcome. Eric, hello. Can't sleep, so I'll hang out and we can talk fish. Right on. Clay Prentice, what's up? Fishymon, hey Mr. Fishymon, what is up tonight? Leo, what is going on? How's it going down under? I hope it's going well. Let's see, what else is going on here? Well, I thought I'd tell you guys a little secret. It's a secret that I've only realized recently in myself, in my tanks, but I do this from time to time, and I find that it really helps. Gigi Don says, hi, I'm from Sri Lanka. We have some variety of wild collect water plants. You have a lot of incredible plants and a lot of great fish, both introduced to the farming industry like guppies and things, and bettas, as well as other things. Any advice for tubbing with pygmy sunfish? Yeah, let's talk about that. But let me tell you about my dark and evil secret. Spirulino, what's going on, buddy? Patrick, hello. My little secret, not a great one, but let's turn this around. You guys don't need to see my my mug that's getting progressively fatter and less teeth. I'm trying to compensate for the weight gain by evening out the weight of the teeth in my mouth, and I think it's really helping my appearance. No, actually, I do have to. I was gonna get dentures. I think if you guys recall, the lightning strike fractured all the teeth and stuff. So they're just waiting to pull the rest of them, basically. But it's a whole ordeal to pull the rest of these teeth. They all have major structural issues. But when I do that, I'm going to sound really funny, and I can't have any teeth for like 3 months, and so it's just going to be a thing. Also, by the way, a little shout out, Kenny E. Danny and Kenny over at Danikin Aquatics are having a special stream to celebrate their awesomeness on Friday. So Friday, he just put up a video. He's going to do giveaway of some pretty cool fish. So a really beautiful new guppy line, newer line, I should say, and then some other fish. Jackson Tax, what's going up? What up, D? My secret. So the little secret that I've had lately that has worked really well, I'm doing it right now in this aquarium as we speak. So what happened is I noticed that some of my, these are blue panda guppies. I've still got the nail polish on. It's going to help me point to things, I decided. But in any case, I lost 2 guppies. This one I thought I was going to lose also. And they look very anemic. They're very thin, some of them. And you get this live bearer wasting disease a lot of times. It's very common in the hobby when you have, I have 8 or 9 different varieties of live bearers all over. But in any case, the live bearers, sometimes they'll get sunken in bellies, especially the females are really prone to it. But I noticed that a couple got it in this tank, so I thought, oh, do they have worms? Treated them for worms, no worms. And so something was up, and then I thought maybe it's just stress. But I'm doing what I do from time to time, which is I basically throw in an extra air stone. I throw in an extra air stone or just another air line to a sponge filter. You can do a whole other sponge filter. The hang off the back still kind of going at a drip of a pace. But what I do is when I have fish problems and I can't really put my finger on what the issue is for sure, and it just seems like things are not great. Maybe the nitrates, ammonia, any of the parameters. Maybe ammonia or nitrite are showing up randomly after not showing up for a year. Or maybe, a fish died and things are just slightly off. Well, what I do, if I can, and with most of my species I can, is I will crank it up to 86. This is set to be going to 86, but it's at 84 currently. But 86 is the temperature at which ick and most nematodes and worms have a hard time, their cysts or eggs have a hard time reproducing, and they won't reproduce. So it stops them from reproducing, and then any of the actual illness that's on the fish means that, like any of that's going on will fall off within 2 weeks. So for what I do, my little secret is for 2 weeks, I'll crank up the temperature on a tank to 86. Now, it only really needs to be 84.7 or so, I believe. I think that's the exact temperature. But I find that this keeps it safe in that, like I said, it's set at 86, but it's reading 84, meaning that it's not quite getting where it needs to be because of the ambient temperature in the room or whatever. So that way you take care of ick and several fungi and things. Now there are some issues. There are a few fungi and a few bacteria that flourish under those conditions. But generally, as long as it's not a discus tank or some sort of tank that you keep at a hot heat, over 84 a lot of the time, then you're not going to develop that bacteria because it needs time. It needs more than just 10 days or 14 days to develop and really get its niche in the ecosystem. So I allow the temperature for about 2 weeks to go up, and that kind of seems to clean things a little bit. But then beyond that, throw in the extra air stone. I do another water change beyond the norm if I can, depending on the tank. I mean, if it's some tank where the fish don't really want their water changed, like there's like a shrimp tank, for instance, like a Caridina shrimp tank, then I would avoid that just because I don't want to upset them. But the other thing I do is then I throw in a cap per 20 gallons, a whole cap of prime, Seachem Prime, which will for 24 to 48 hours knock down all ammonia, nitrates, nitrite, and chlorine. It will help detoxify it. It basically surrounds it in a bubble of a molecule that makes it less damaging and harmful. So between those things, the heat, the extra air, which oxygenates the water a little bit. The other thing I'll do is I'll throw out a lot of the floating plants, and I'll cut back the light, either the intensity or the duration a little bit. And not that I have algae in here. I mean, this light can be on all day long, and this tank is never going to get algae. It's very stable that way. But this tank right now, I'm just frustrated that I lost 2 panda guppies, and I saw some symptoms that look similar to ick on them. But then the other issue was I lost a red-tailed, or a red lizard catfish, and another one of the red lizard catfish looked very brown rather than red. Now, they have looked a little off in this tank for a while, like for a week or two. Their color hasn't been as vivid, so I've just been kind of keeping an eye on them. But it was when the other red tail, when I had a red tail loss and the 2 guppies, that I decided, you know what, let's switch things up. Let's turn up that heat. Let's get extra oxygen in the water. I've gone in with the turkey baster, and I've really spot cleaned like any sort of debris that I see that's real egregious. So, you know, anything like this, like just, you know, plant debris. And I'll just spot clean that out. Also at night I'll come in and I'll try to get any planaria that I see. Like there's some planaria right here, because remember, this is nighttime. Everyone thinks it's time to come out and party. That's the nocturnal critters, and that's when planaria generally come out. If you hit it with just the top layer and you just kind of puff your turkey baster over it, you can actually get the planaria all into they'll tighten up into these little discs, and they'll float. And if you feed them fish food at night, like feed the tank and just allow a little bit to chill on the bottom, you'll get planaria that start eating it. And let's try to puff one up that's real obvious. Here we go. So when I puff the tank here with this, then I can start actually, when they're under turbulence, these guys will then turn into a disc, and then they'll hold on inside of here. Well, to get them to release in here, I just shake this up. But then I've found that I have a number of fish that really like planaria. So just as a little treat, these guys, they know what's up. My Valiant, or as they're also known, samurai or rainbow gouramis, I'll feed them the actual, see, they're waiting for it. This guy knows what's up. Feed them the planaria. And I do the same thing in my shrimp tanks. Like over here, I know this glass is dirty, but this one has lots of, sorry about shaking around. Sorry, let me get positioned. Sorry, guys. These guys, it's nighttime, so they're going to be starting to want to feed. And my panda loaches, one of my favorite fish. This colony is about 2 years old now. What they like to do is they like to eat the really young planaria, so really teeny sized planaria. But they also, the bigger ones, the ones that grow up and that avoid getting eaten for a long time, they kind of ignore, which is annoying. And so that's when I then come in here with the turkey baster, and I'll get detritus worms. So I'm trying to kick it up enough that you guys can actually see some of this mess. I mean, you guys see a fog, but I wanted to, in theory, show you guys the worms. And this doesn't smell incredibly great usually when you do this. Also, if you have a deep substrate tank, you don't want to monkey too much with it, because you can mess up your cycle a bit. There's a big old planaria falling. So now we've got some planaria. Right now they were actually at the top eating some leftover floating shrimp snacks. So watch this. These guys, though, they're just all about it. They'll come and they'll eat a lot of gouramis in general. Love planaria. The other thing that will eat the planaria, and the problem is though these guys only eat planaria as it's falling. They only kind of eat it and track it if it's moving. Once they're squirming around the bottom, they kind of ignore them. So that's when you need either a loach or a catfish that's desperate. And by desperate, I just mean it's hungry. Don't feed it any prepared food for a week, or not a week. You could go a week, but for probably 2 or 3 days, and then they'll all of a sudden they start getting this appetite for all that is creepy crawly in their tank. Also, I moved out of the pea puffer tank. I moved the golden dwarf cichlids into this tank. And looks like they've barricaded themselves off. Look at this. They've stacked rocks in front of their little tank. Okay, alright. You do you guys. I won't judge whatever they're doing. But, I moved them because the pea puffers, even though the pea puffers are probably a fifth the body mass, these little pea puffers are monsters, obviously, and they were just bugging them too much. They realized that they could eat scales off of them, and it became kind of a game to pull a scale off, and that's not cool for my other fish, obviously. So I ended up moving them, even though they got along for 2 months. And in the past, I've had small cichlids and pea puffers get along okay. But I think I needed a third fish or something moving more to break it up. Whereas they were just waiting outside the cave and like picking at the cichlids' back scales. So I didn't want that happening anymore. I was over it. But just to mention, the cleanup of this tank, like I said, these cichlids, apistos and things will definitely, they'll definitely also eat planaria. So here we got some planaria right there. At night, you can really get planaria easily. I mean, like, you can find them easily, especially if you put some food in like a half hour earlier. Almost every tank, even if it looks really clean, you'll find some planaria in there. Guppies and things will eat planaria, but not reliably, not that great. But this guy, this Panduro cichlid, will actually does a pretty good job when they're falling also. So I'll push some back into his little area. And there he goes. He's going for him right now. He just got one. And let's see if... Oh, one just went right by your head, you fool. But in any case, yeah. So even though they're in his same tank and he's been hanging out with them all night and he could have just eaten them, sometimes he does hunt for them a little bit if I don't feed him that night. But I like to feed this pair, the male and female, because I'm trying to get them to spawn. So, also, Aquatic Arts sent me a little, I mean, it's like 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet, but they sent me a banner, since probably half my fish, if actually more than half my fish, are from them. So, I said I'd be happy to put that up on the wall in the background. So, that's there now. They're the only company I really work with. So, yeah. Mr. Gromby, what's going on? Kate got your first shot. Right on. Congrats. Hopefully things get back to normal, right? Scott's Aquatics, what's up? Who else did I miss coming through? I know I missed someone. Rachel, what's up? I did see... Oh, Danikin, $5 super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. Dude, you have to go to the new Aquascape shop in Eugene. It was amazing. Right on. Yeah, I have plans, Kenny. I'm going to be... The plans that I have are that I will be in Portland for a number of days. I think I'm going to be there maybe Friday night, but probably more like Saturday, Sunday. of May, not this coming weekend, but the next one. So perhaps I'll hit you up. I'll definitely be hitting up the wet spot, and I may grab a couple new cichlids of some sort, some sort of little fish, because I do have some room for that kind of thing. I would like to get new things. Fish Tropic says, I heard those shots are useless and cause blood clots, don't protect you from the variants. No, so from all the scientific literature, and I've been keeping up with it, Fish Tropic, the Johnson & Johnson shots are the ones that had blood clots, and it was specifically with women on high doses of birth control, and all but one of the women were between the ages of 15 and 25. One woman was like 50 something, 51. There's been 7 cases of the blood clot disorder out of 45 million shots administered. I mean, those are way less than the reaction deaths to, say, aspirin. And it has been a sort of body becoming allergic to the compound that helps, or the clotting factor that makes blood clot. And so it causes inflammation and clotting, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, but they know it has something to do with estrogen. However, that being said, it is 84% effective, I want to say off the top of my head, against the strains that are out there at large. That is actually the one that is the most effective of the ones out there. Even though it has a lower efficacy rating, the Pfizer and the Moderna shot have a 94 and a 92% efficacy rate of, if you've had both shots, that's the percentage chance that you will not get the disease if exposed in a 6-month window. That's the data they're using right now, is what they have. The year window will be out, I think, in 2 months, the data on that. And that's when they'll decide if booster shots are needed for the new variants. But the Johnson & Johnson shot was tested in South Africa heavily, as well as in the slums of Brazil and in India and in the UK, where the worst of the variants are. Was not tested on the Iranian one specifically, but I think there were like 30 cases out of the 40,000 in the specific study where they were testing 40,000 people every 2 days. This stuff's all online if you really want to read through all the work. There are so many medical papers on it right now. So what I did is I read the New York State and also the European Union report on the efficacy of the vaccines. Now, if you ask me, also, there still seems to be an awful lot of people getting sick even though they've gotten vaccinated. However, a very low number of those people get serious complications, which is good. So it seems to be working similar to a seasonal flu shot, only this flu kills a lot more people, obviously, from what we're seeing. And the other part about it, what was I going to say? This channel, this isn't really like what I would usually talk about, but I mean, I talk about scientific journal articles and scholarly journals articles, and I mean, it's stuff that I read through for fish things and tell you, and that people seem to accept. And so I figured I just wanted to parrot the info that I'd processed so far, that I can say, at least this is what the medical community around the world has agreed upon largely. I mean, this is what, the Oxford Medical Journal says. This is what, I mean, there's definitely some issues, and don't even get me started about the financial incentives for companies to develop these, or the monopoly that some of these companies have on, trillions of dollars literally at stake, and who got picked for what and all that. But beyond all that, I mean, I won't go into it. The medical stuff is what I was just going to go into. So, and I have both my shots now, so hopefully I'm, as good. I'm 92% resistant to it, and if I do get it, I have a less than the average flu chance of dying of complications from it. even being a higher at-risk person, even with my lupus issues. So that makes me feel a lot better, honestly, than the somewhere between 0.5% and 3%, depending on whose numbers you believe. The most conservative numbers are 0.5%. I mean, it's conservative numbers that any scientist or doctor has put forward. A lot of people have put forward numbers that they just pull out of thin air because they say, oh, well, so-and-so is lying, so we better assume that half of this is wrong. Like, you can't do that. That's not scientifically, that means nothing. That can be your opinion, but scientifically it means nothing. Okay, alright, let's get back to fish. Sorry, guys. Let's see here. General, whoa, what's going on? Oh, we got some super chats and things that rolled in, too, while I was busy bantering to myself. Let's see. Kevin Leong, hello, thank you so much. Appreciate it. $2 super chat. T-Bones Fishes, g'day. Alex, like to say your tanks and room are looking great. Well, thank you so much. I admire you, or I thank you for taking a look at my tanks. You know, I love it when other people are scoping out my tanks. And, oh boy, they didn't like that light turning on. My albino cribs, they will not spawn, and I don't know why. They're paired off. They've been paired off for a year. They're fatty McFattersons, and they just won't spawn. I've moved them into, this is their third tank now, and they won't do it. Just making me mad. The birdsong gobies, by the way, which was the thumbnail for tonight, they were spawning earlier today. Their babies will never come forth into fruition because their babies are 2 cells, a sperm and an egg, and their babies are literally, I mean, teeny tiny. One of these little fish that's not even 2 inches long can have up to 10,000 eggs in some of the Stiphodon species. And that's because their eggs are literally larval eggs. So, like, there's a female right up here of a cobalt blue, or not the, yeah, cobalt blue is what this is, female of here. But here's a male bird song, right here, or, Sir Rufus goby is their actual Latin species name. And there's a full-grown cherry shrimp for size. But yeah, so that's their, doing their thing. But they were beautiful, like, dark red colors, like the shrimp over there. Earlier this evening, when they were spawning and pairing off, and they've built these little dens. You can see the female's got her head right there. But they built these dens, so I'm really glad I put in the rocks the way I did. But look here, I mean, there's just all these little crevices where they're hanging out. And same with, like, there's the bumblebee goby. The dragon micro gobies are somewhere under the sand. They hang out under the sand at night. Literally, I won't be able to detect them until they come up. I could put scuds in and they would come up because only their nose sticks out when they're really hidden under there. There's another male bird song that's not colored up at all. That's how they may look if they're not in spawning mode. But 2 of the 3 males were in spawn mode, and 2 of the 3 females also. So kind of cool. What else have we got? Oh, we were going to talk about pygmy sunfish real quick. Sorry about that. Got distracted. Let me scroll back down to the bottom real quick. And then if you have a question, re-ask it just because I got, on a rant. And I'm sorry, I apologize. Rant over. Here's one more bumblebee goby that's staring right at me. True freshwater one. Which there are 13 species, only 1 is true freshwater. Dr. Pepper. I'm loving it. That's their slogan, right, guys? Alright, let's see here. So, I learned this the other night. I thought, nothing's going on in this pygmy sunfish tank. Well, it turns out that finally, after a year, I moved everything other than least killifish out of this tank. So just pygmy sunfish and least killifish are in this tank. And I added stones. I added a whole pile of stones and a whole bunch of moss and some sticks that I'm trying to get to sink. And what do we have all of a sudden the last 2 days? We've got babies. I mean, I added the rocks and sticks before. These look like least killifish, these ones right here. But it did appear as though I had at least a few of the sunfish. Now the sunfish seem to really enjoy these rock hides. Least killifish are not outgoing fish. They're not like a bold, prominent fish in the tank. They're not going to be like out and about charging and flaring and doing all their, acrobatics like a guppy or, like a rainbow fish. But you can see lots of little fry, and the fry are pretty bold until you get right up next to them. But they like shallow waters. So pygmy sunfish are from ditches generally, and so they tend to like the very shallow water. So I'm talking less like 6 inches. And they also like the rock pile and lots of plants. If you want, sorry, the gimbal is reflecting right tonight is going to be a bit of an issue. Just pretend it's not there. How about that, guys? So yeah, but I counted, I think 14 babies in this tank, and I didn't see a single one until I turned off the light, turned on the LED on my phone, and came in here at 3 in the morning and looked around and poked around, and all of a sudden, boom, see all the beautiful little lights, which are their eyes. I did have the what are they called? Medaka rice fish in here with the least killifish earlier. I thought it was a bit too early for the Seattle/Northwest area to put my least killifish out, but there are still some eggs from the rice fish in here, like right in here there's one. And the way you find those easiest is you turn off the overhead light and side lights, and then you literally turn on like a 3000 or 4000 Kelvin LED diode, like the one that is your flash on your phone probably nowadays, if you have an Android, or if you have an iPhone, that'll do just fine. But it'll find out. In theory, yes, these fish can handle 40-degree nights, 45-degree nights, especially if the water is getting more like 45. General rule for small tanks. Now, if you have a 100-gallon rain barrel, that's going to be different than, say, a tank this shape, or say a plastic trash bin that's really tall with lots of surface area exposed to the outside air. But as a general rule, if you have a rectangular aquarium, under 40, like 40, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 gallons, I've noticed that basically around here, as long as it's not in direct sunlight, that generally the way the temperature thing works, oh man, it's getting fogged up again, sorry guys. Generally the way that the temperature thing works is that you split the difference between the daytime high and the nighttime low, and that's somewhere around how cold the tank water is gonna get, airing a little bit closer to the low. So if it was 80 degrees in the day, now this may not work in desert climates, this seems to work for me, and I've also had it relayed to me that this works for people living in New England as well as like Ohio and a few other spots. If you see real extreme changes like in Arizona or something, then it may not work, or the high desert or Denver. But say it's 80 degrees in the day and at night it goes down to 55, it's probably going to be right in between the two is where the water will get down to, generally, maybe like 5 degrees cooler than that. So it's a general rule, like I said, but that is just because water is so hard to heat up and cool down, and so it kind of takes an average across the days rather than following the ambient temperature. Now, if you have like a little 2-gallon tank, or even the tank like this that's like a 12.5 gallon, sorry, I'm all zoomed in. Then this is going to lose heat very fast. It's shallow, it's got a lot of exposed, it's also going to heat up very fast, so it's just something to keep in mind. But if you're going to put out pygmy sunfish, I would gauge it on your water staying above 100%, above 50 degrees all the time, and ideally the low should be around 60, and the high shouldn't be above around 90 in the water itself. So if you're seeing temperatures, you know, between day and night, if you go check, put a tank out there and check it. The other thing I advise doing is get a jar, a mason jar, like glass one, or a thermos, and then instead of taking a heat gun or an actual thermometer and measuring the top, actually take a siphon, or if you have to use the cup, use the cup, but sink it down to the mid-level of the water and pull that up, then take a reading in that, because especially if you have a tank something like this outside, your temperature could be 20 degrees warmer at the top, especially in the daytime, like easily. Now, generally, it should start churning, and you should get the same action as a lake would have. However, most lakes don't have 90-degree walls. They have a bowl shape and a gradual shoreline, and thus they churn, as we say. And there's a certain geometric shape that causes it to actually, the water to convect. And Alan, what's going on? Dang, you have a lot of subscribers. Well, yeah, I love you guys. And you're all special snowflakes to me. Every single one of you. Let me see if my wife's still awake, because if she's not, she's not. She went to bed. We can take a look at these tanks, which usually don't get any love lately because of on the channel anyways. But figured I'd pop out here while we get to the questions. All right, let's see here. Yeah, thank you very much, Alan. Appreciate that super chat. And somebody joined the channel too, I think. Kate did. Welcome. Secret supporter. Right on. I really do appreciate that. Also, like I said, I'm going to be changing when I go live, when my live streams are. And I think it's going to be on Wednesdays and Saturdays instead of Tuesdays and Saturdays. And I also think I may move the Saturday stream a little bit earlier, so that we can catch some of the Australians and people in Singapore and Japan that have been coming in and expressing interest in the live streams lately. So we might try that, but I'll try to post it ahead of time. How's the silver powder looking? You know, Alan, it's been tenuous, honestly. Let's show you here. So here's the silver powder in here, and I've got it, and it's alive and still, you know, looks healthy. But it's just not expanding. After I tried to cut off when I split it to try to get a piece to send you, the piece is in here. And I thought this was it, and I think this is actually a shoot from the carolensis that just ran from the Logonandra carolensis, because I put it right in here. There's this patch that it's had, and it's just it's slow going. I haven't managed to kill it, but I managed to not successfully transplant. So I guess I did kill the daughter plant, but the mother plant, I'm just like not bugging. I'm definitely waiting on it, but as soon as it is okay to send you a piece, I definitely will. I had the Logonandra Boldi red that I can send you. Sorry, this isn't the carolensis. This is the Logonandra pink. That there's only one leaf of. That took a beating too. I had a big old Logonandra in here, and I don't know where it went. It literally died back all the way. And then there's another Logonandra back in here. That's just now the leaves from the move. The leaves totally died during the move. And just now I'm starting to see a few leaves back in there again, like coming out of the ground. So those Logonandras are pretty temperamental when you move them. I mean, like some of the carolensis, these ones, I mean, they're so small right now. Also, isn't this making the cutest noise ever? Wait. I can't tell where the cute noise is coming from. It's a chirping noise. Is it over here? No, it's here. It's probably the CO2. But, Alan, the CO2 is back, and hopefully the CO2, plus I topped things off with a little more soil, aqua soil. Hopefully we can get things rolling again. Let's see here. Donald Wolf, what's going on? Zen Ginger, what's going on? We got lots of folks in here. Yeah, Loganandra takes moves so hard. I mean, it does not like it. That plant is so freaking sensitive. Um, it's really annoying. It really, like, it really made me sad because I had, at one point, that silver was so beautiful. It was like, you know, a big plant that came out. Now, this sword, this stupid thing that was like $5.99 or whatever it cost new. This thing is a monster. I don't want it in here anymore. It's taking up way too much space, and just shading out everything. I mean, granted, it's also eating up a lot of nitrites, nitrates, ammonia, all that good stuff that's in the substrate. But and it's got a nice red color to it. The other thing that's gone bonkers is my cophifolia. Really, the leaves aren't looking that great, but I mean, the rhizomes and the actual stalk, they've grown all the way. I mean, they're pretty much immersed. It is immersed right now. And this thing was on the top of the rock when I moved, like this tall. So in 2 months, it's grown 6 inches, reaching upward. So, I mean, cophifolia is a little bit bigger than the, you know, petite nanas or gold coins or anything like that. But, I mean, not as much as you'd think with that. There's another Loganandra pink in here. And there's another one back right in here that's not doing well. Took it badly. I have a pink flamingo, took it terribly. So I got a new one from a friend here, cut it in half. So I have 2 pink flamingo crypts. I'm just trying to get them started in this substrate. This substrate is sand, ADA Amazonia, and Fluval stratum with the fertilizing pellets. And we'll see what happens. But the AR obviously is growing like crazy with the CO2. I'm doing CO2 in this tank in the morning, just literally moving it. And CO2 in here for like 6 hours a day, and in here for like 10 of the hours a day. And then this tank's on later at night. So this tank doesn't go off until around midnight or 1 a.m. The other thing I did is I moved one of every male guppy into this tank, if not 2, but mostly 1. So there's, I guess, 14 different guppy or Endler strains in here right now floating around, but I just wanted to look at them more. I felt like so many of them are like breeding projects. Like these ones, I call Picassos. They're just a strain that actually Jackson Tax has some of. They're a mix of these guys and the Japanese blue, and then my homemade Voltas that I worked on for a few years. But I mean, they just look so pretty. They've got that long dorsal fin on top. And I mean, right now this isn't even the best light, but she brought these back to me. They've been in a pond that she'd been taking care of. So they've been getting naturally tanned by that light. And ooh, they're just so pretty. They're so pretty from above. Really digging that. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I see your super chat just rolled in, $5. Aquatic Arts answered me back, and they said they will buy your pink guppies. Right on. That is awesome. That is great to hear. Love to hear that. Pink guppies, that's unusual. I'd love to see those. If you're on the Facebook group, I feel like you are. I'd love to see those. Alan says, I'm thinking about trying home tissue culture for a few Loganandra species, make a bunch of starts, and dedicate a whole tank to them. That would be a good idea. I mean, I'd like to see how that turns out. The thing with Loganandra is it's so hit and miss in that, like, sometimes it does great. Seems like if you can get a start from someone who's willing to give you, like, a chunky start, it does fine. But if you have a start that's this big or smaller, it's like 1 in 3 shot that the thing's gonna survive. So, I don't know. Loganandra is one of my favorite, as well as the Barclaya longifolia, and I don't have one of those right now, but they're just a ginormous leaf plant like these kind of, and they're just, I mean, they're just beautiful. They come out and they unfurl in your tank, and yeah, Rachel, there's a Facebook group where we share our information, our pictures. You can post videos. You can post, if you have a channel, you can share your channel. There's a few people who kind of get a little bit much with posting on their channel. Like, I don't mind if people post their channel. I just don't want it to monopolize the thread. But by all means, if you have a channel, share with us. I mean, or if you just even have a video and you're not trying to have a channel, but you want to show us something funny that happened, or a nice fish you're keeping, or a tank, or plants, or a problem you need help with, that's why it's there. If you could upload video to YouTube and send it to me, I would be more than happy to have that feature here, because so often people have questions that, you know, a video or a photo would help with. But yeah, the Facebook group is called, it's linked in the description down below. There's all sorts of helpful links. There's a link also to, oh, Donald Wolf, thank you so much. I see we've got a $5 super chat. Why does this keep zooming when I scroll down on the chat? Sorry, guys. When I scroll down on the chat, it's zooming in on the there we go. Let's see what happens here. Nope, that's still going to be terrible. Let's see. What happens if I do this? You have to stare at my ugly face for a minute. Then I look at the chat. Great. Not any better. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. I'm sorry, guys. So can I just not look at the chat? Is that what's going on right now? Alan, thank you for posting that link. I see that. What in the heck is going on? Hold on, guys. Let me double check that the screen's dry. Figure out if there's something going on funky here. Alright, so it's been all towel dried off. Why can't I do anything? Like, it won't let, it's just zooming in and out on the camera mode. They really need to work on the functionality on Android of live streams. It's awful. So Donald, I saw that you gave me a super chat, and I really do appreciate that, but I have no idea what it said, because YouTube is a piece of junk sometimes. Hold on. Really, guys? Come on. What is going on here? Okay, well, apparently right at this second, I can only... Not even. Great. I can see what you guys are typing right now. Veronica, what's up? The stone in these tanks, this is Cascade Basalt, the biggest one. But then the rest is all called Cascade Jade and Jadeite. There's bands of serpentine and serpentinite or olivine in it, but it's all volcanic igneous rock. Some of it's, I guess, metamorphic in that it's been 300 million years, 160 million years, and 52 million years, depending on the part of the mountain range that I go to. They're all within an hour and a half drive or so of me in Seattle. But they start out a really nice kind of seafoam bluish green color, and then they've got this kind of nice like grayish blue to black as they age. And then when algae's on them, you don't really see it. This is that same basalt that's older, and you can see the iron on it. The iron's oxidized in this giant chunk. And I like the look of that too, but it took 5 years for that piece to look like that. But I mean, I really do like that look. If we go into here again, let's see here. If we hop in here, turn this light on bright again. This is more of that basalt. Sorry, this tank's got so much algae on the side, but basalt with quartz intrusions or inclusions, however you want to say it, and some quartz seams in it, as well as there's that grayish green again. Under deeper water, you lose certain tones as the water gets deeper. And here's some old stuff too, though, that was on the lighter end of the spectrum. I went up into the mountains and I actually quarried this myself. All the stone that I have in a lot of those tanks. And then this is down from sea level. All this stone here. This is from the Nooksack River, this tank down here. And we've got all these rounded stones that the glaciers dropped off at my doorstep. Really? I still can't zoom? Yeah, this rock is huge. Let's see here. Why can't... let's see here. Nothing is letting us... I'm sorry, guys, that I keep zooming in like this. Can't even zoom out. There we go. There's the zoom out. Turn it around to my face. Okay, hi, guys. How's it going? Hit chat. Top chat. Let's try top chat. See if that works. No. Hi, nose. Great. Live chat. Really? Nothing. All I can do is scroll side to side. I can't watch your comments, I guess. There's probably no point to this stream soon. I guess I see your comments right now. So if you just asked a question and you need an answer, please let me know, and I will sweat in this room. Let's see here. Let me turn this back around so we can look at fish at least. You don't need to look at my ugly mug. But, yeah. Freaking technology is driving me nuts. But yeah, this tank, we got the Aspidoras from Aquatic Arts in here, doing well. No, I like hornwort and hornweeds. I think they're great plants. I mean, I use them for all sorts of stuff. I mean, all rainbow fish love spawning on this stuff. The Corydoras will even spawn on it, some species. The only thing I don't like about it is that it does catch debris. So if you can see in the water, there's some particulate debris that it kind of catches sometimes that annoys me. A lot of that's just water bubbles on a churning tank. But, yeah. It can shed a lot. If you don't have hard water, it'll shed a lot more. Look at all these rainbow fish playing in the... These are Gertrudii. Also, what's interesting is my Nanochromis Parlus, when they got in this tank, they formed a den together and were in there for like 4 days in this little cave. And I thought, yes, they're finally going to spawn, because all the Corys spawned when they were in here. And then the male left, and he dug a hole under that rock, and he's under that rock now. So... Now they have separate houses again. I don't know. I guess there's some custody issues or something they're working on. Whatever. They need to get over it, though, and make me some grandchildren. Yeah. Let's see here. So, the other thing, I've been having a lot of fun with these Aspidoras. They're like Corydoras, but, like, longer. But they're really small. Like, they stay pretty small. These ones in particular, the C125, the Pilatus, they have a white dot on their head that's pretty cool. You have loaches swimming wildly and have a dirt tank. Gosh dang it, I can't scroll at all. This is driving me insane. Good hardy fish for a freshly cycled 20 long. Corys, guppies, gobies, any live bear will do you well when you're starting to cycle a tank. Corys are a good choice too, because they can gulp air, so the ammonia won't burn their gills as quickly, in that they can breathe. Also, bettas are not the worst thing ever, well, gouramis can be finicky with the pH. So I would say I would do probably live bears. I mean, I usually use like a platy, a molly, a swordtail, a guppy. Usually I use guppies because I have so many guppies. I'll throw a guppy in. Actually, usually what I do when I'm cycling a tank, I don't do fish in cycles generally, but what I will do is I'll throw shrimp in, because shrimp will really tell you what's going on. They don't like ammonia at all. They don't like high nitrates at all. So if you throw some neocaridina in and they're fine, more often than not, you're totally going to be fine. But I'll throw them in for a few days, and then I'll throw in some fish after that. Usually start with live bears, work my way up, then I'll add, a catfish or a pleco or, a rasbora. Danios are another good one. Danios, you're not going to kill a danio very easily. Like these guys down here, leopard danios or zebra danios. I've put them in uncycled tanks many times. Kythit danios, they'll be fine most of the time. Let's see. Sorry, I'm shaking. Let me get this thing positioned so it doesn't shake. I'm trying to read your guys' comments, but having a hell of a time, which is a bummer because I'm really awake tonight. I'm feeling good. My wife and I went out to dinner. Yeah, green water tanks are great. Yeah, that filter is super loud. It's this one with all the green. Speaking of green water, this tank here has my lipstick gobies in it, and so they jump up on there and they'll suck on it and then slip back into the tank. So that's why they're there. Also, let's see, I'll do an update, because I lost whatever question you have. I think the moisture in your room, no, because I went into the other room and my camera's not working either, like the software's not working either. Hold on, actually, I see something I found something on the lens, or not on the lens, but on the, nope, that wasn't it. Great. Because you guys want to be this zoomed in. At least, I mean, I wish I could just get you zoomed out easily. Alright, so look at this chunky betta. This guy is getting, or this gal, I should say, is getting huge. And I really want her to spawn, but I don't know. This yellow, pretty little thing. I might just need to give him more room for a bubble nest. But look at that beautiful yellow. I'd love them to team up and have some grandkids for me. We'll see what happens. This tank is a 17.5 gallon, and I dropped a leveler in there for aquascaping. What do you call it? A spatula. Also, let's see. I was gonna see if any of the catfish are out. No, the yellow bettas are very uncommon. You can get a light yellow. A light yellow is pretty common, but that bold yellow is hard to find. You can cheat and get the the ones in the. It's not cheating. I mean, whatever. It's biologic, but you can get the ones from. Greetings from Bolivia. Hello, welcome. On the border of Bolivia, working for pennies. I know a song that has that words in it. Any case, I hope you're doing well over in Bolivia and hanging out and having a good one tonight. Giant bettas. I love giant bettas. I think you need to care for them properly. I underestimated them the first time I took care of betta mechaensis and or not mechaensis. Those ones were fine. Macrostoma. I had them in a 20 long and they jumped out. Like, I literally went to go to upstairs to take care of. There used to be 3 tanks in a different room than all these tanks in the old house, and I went and to take care of them, and both the male and female jumped out in that gap of time after somebody specifically warned me, like, they're jumpers, be careful. And one of them jumped out on a live stream while I was opening it to show everybody the cool new fish that were mouth brooders. Yeah, they're 6-foot racks. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Evil? I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. Is it L's or I's? But thank you so much. Oh, Bolivian is in South Korea, not Bolivia. Okay. Well, I'm a dummy. Sorry about that. South Korea, much different than South America. It makes sense why you're awake, also. Good source for live brine shrimp. Don't seem to be able to find any but frozen. Yeah, baby brine shrimp. I haven't found any place that orders them. That being said, I've been trying to talk Aquatic Arts into doing that. The thing is, the price would have to be a little high. Just because they'd hatch them and then they'd bag them and then they have to get them out. Definitely with the overnight orders. They tend to die in shipping easily. But hey, Carla, welcome. And yeah, so it's a little tricky. They are going to start selling scuds, I believe. But we have some tricks up our sleeve that I'm working on them with, in that I want to get, yeah, you really need baby brine. I would recommend getting Daphnia or vinegar eels if you're trying to spawn something. Vinegar eels, you need a hell of a lot more to feed, but they do work in a pinch, and I have bottles of them all over. Once you get one bottle of vinegar eels going, you will have vinegar eels out the yin-yang within a month or two, and they're really low maintenance to take care of. The only hard part is really putting them through a very fine sieve and getting rid of all that. The tanks we haven't checked on in a while are up here, and I need to get a light for these. Same with here, but this is just a Scud and Daphnia tank right now. Butch Cassidy did flee to Bolivia, so they say. He's still living down there, right? He's like at least 40 years old now, though. I do kind of have a snail tank. I mean, there's CPDs in here, but there's mostly snails in here. Can I keep Kililoches with plecos? Yeah, totally. They're fine. They're both pretty peaceful. Maybe not with like an imperial pleco, like or honestly like a zebra pleco or a leopard frog pleco, like the compacta or compta species, the peclotias. Sorry, because they are carnivorous, so they could have an issue with that. But other than chasing them out of their cave or burrow, they really get along pretty well. And here we've got, well, now it wants to go away. Of course, every fish at night that I want to film wants to just peace out. Gosh, I wish I could scroll up in the chat right now. This is some BS. Actually, let's try going out. Let's try stepping outside. And cooling off the screen and seeing if that does anything. I'm at a loss for, like, what to do. Come on. I can't even bring down the freaking menu from my phone right now. Let's see here. Hey, that might have done it.